Hey everybody, it's Stacie Duffy here, your Denver Metro real estate resource, and we're going to talk about the delayed auction. And you're like, what the hell is that? So I have run into this a lot lately, and it happens a lot whenever the market shifts or changes or adjusts or balances or whatever clickbait keyword phrase you are seeing around and that I put on some of my other videos, because that's what's happening, right? So seasonal changes, seasonal shifts, the delayed auction that's what I'm calling it because I don't know what else to call it, but it happens all the time. And I want to tell people that it is common. So, and I want to explain the scenario because this happened to one of my buyers recently. It has happened to many of my sellers in the past. And whenever there's a market shift, adjustment, balancing of some sort, right? Of, hey, it's been crazy, it's been crazy, it's been crazy. Things are different. Things feel weird. Like we have more houses to see. There's price reductions. There's all this stuff that everyone like freaks out. They're like, oh my God, is the market going to crash? I hear that every year in June. Every year. So it's almost like I've done this before. So I will link up above and down below to my most recent market update video as far as changes in the market. So that gives you some context if you're not as, up to date or in the market or anything as far as what's going on. But anytime there starts to be some softening in buyer demand, keep in mind, we are still a crazy seller's market. Like there are significantly more people that want and need to buy homes than there are homes available to purchase. Okay. So that means that we have more demand than we do supply, but this is kind of turning into a mini market update video for context, but it was here as far as buyers and sellers. Then it has come down a little bit because the interest rates went up. And then it has also come up a little bit in supply because of May, which happens every year, right? So spring, summer market where people list their homes, move, things change, life changes, whatever. We want to time the market just right, and all those homes come on in April, May, June. I've talked about the timing before. I'm not going to hit that right now, but just because we are closer, there is this market adjustment period time where things happen, right? These buyers that have been getting bid out on things and the auction, I call it the weekly auction. I've talked about that in other videos before, and I'll do probably another video just explaining that because I talked to all my buyers about it. But hey, we were one of 20 offers. I had one of those this week. We were still one of 20 offers. We didn't get it. We were in the top, probably 2 or 3. We got pretty close, but we knew that it was going to be a long shot for us, right? But I've also had, hey, those same buyers that were, lost out because there were 19 other offers. I just got them under contract yesterday where we were the only offer. And it's weird, right? Because you're like, how is that possible? Guys, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on, and it happens every year whenever this shift happens and adjustment happens, and buyer expectations are different because they've been seeing different things. Seller expectations are different because they've been hearing things, but now there's other options. Our inventory is up 40% of May 2022 versus May last year, so there's a lot more homes available, but they are still selling really quickly. So all of that leads to me to talk about the delayed auction, right? So you start seeing all of these homes you start seeing homes that don't go pending or under contract in 3 days or 4 days. You're like, oh, what's wrong with it, right? That's always a gut reaction, is what's wrong with it. I'll shoot another video about that someday and post that up above and down below when I do shoot it and post it. I'll link it back here if I remember to come back and do that. But it's not always that there's something wrong with it, it's that there's some adjustment in the market. Our days on market tends to drag out just a little bit, and the delayed auction is the scenario is the best way to explain it, right? So typical, the weekly auction is, okay, the houses come on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Everyone looks Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They go under contract Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Happens every week, right? And those homes go, and then when something sits around, people start to freak out. They're like, well, something's wrong with it. The buyers think there's something wrong with it. The seller's thinking, what's wrong with my house because it didn't sell right away. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to find the right buyer. OMG. Your $500,000, or our average price point here in Denver Metro now is up to over $700K. So your almost $750,000 house takes more than 3 days to sell. I get so frustrated with that. So it's okay. Take a breath. All about the breaths, right? Take a deep breath. Just chill. All right. So what happens a lot of times in the delayed auctions is, hey, this house has been on the market one weekend. And people are like, okay, buyers are like, oh, I can get a deal, right? It didn't go right away. They didn't have all these bids. Let's go through the second weekend and see if it gets an offer on the second weekend. And a lot of times, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes that delayed auction happens on the second weekend. A lot of time what happens in the delayed auction being like, hey, it gets multiple offers on day 8, 9, 10, 12 on the market. And people are like, what do you mean it's been on the market? Well, you think nobody else wants it, which is why you wanted it and you wanted to get a deal. And sometimes you offered a little bit less than the list price because you're like, oh, it didn't sell right away. I have some wiggle room. I can get a deal, right? You are not a special unicorn or snowflake. You are not the only person with that idea. So I can be much more frank with y'all than I can be with my clients sometimes. I'm much softer when I'm explaining this to my clients, right? So yes, I know you think that, and that might be the case. Just like this one that we were the only offer, but it was a Wednesday afternoon and we still gave them full price, actually a little bit more, just because it was like, in case something else comes in tonight or tomorrow, because we don't know, that's happened before because of the delayed auction, multiple offers after it's been on the market for a little while. We didn't want to shoot ourselves in the foot, and my buyers were awesome about that. Very, very good on strategy, so I appreciate that. But you are not the only person that thinks like, oh man, I can get a deal on this one because nobody else wants it. Like 2, 3, 5, 10 other people might think the same thing, and they try to do something similar, which hence you get multiple offers after the property has already been on the market a while. Why I'm calling it the delayed auction, because then it becomes, oh, well, this person put in this and this person put in this or whatever, and it just starts all over again. The other common scenario where this happens a lot is when the sellers have that freak out moment of, oh, something's wrong with my house, it didn't sell in the first 3 minutes, right? And then they're like, oh, it must be priced too high. I want to reduce the price. I want to get more buyers in it. And I'm seeing this like where my other buyer had this happen last week or a couple weeks ago, was in the $1 million price point, where they were listed just over $1 million, or maybe it's something listed like 555 or 560 instead of 549 or 550. Like it's just over that price pick of where people are looking at it. And they think, okay, I'll drop it 10, 15K. And they get it into a visibility range that's within a typical or customary budget cutoff, right? Because most people are going to cut off their searches for homes at 550, 575, 600. Most people aren't going to cut it off at 585 or something weird. People tend to round up or round down. They round to a, general price break number. So when the agents that list right above that, and this is why I always check showing stats, because I want to see what price ranges are getting more visibility and more showings, because I don't want to price in one of those price ranges that isn't having anyone look at it. I want to price strategically for more eyes up front. But some agents or, and some sellers, it's up to them. Price is their decision. So, but I'll make those recommendations. Sometimes they'll drop it just a little bit to get it in that higher visibility price range. So maybe it's been on the market 7, 8, 9 days. They drop the price 10, 15K, and that gets them into this higher visibility range. Or because the buyers see that price drop, they're like, oh, they're motivated. I can get a deal. Well, now I can go in and offer less, right? Same thing. You are not a special snowflake. You are not the only one with that amazing genius idea. And therefore, there's one house in Parker. I did this for these clients, and I said, hey, they didn't have any offers. I checked in. They still didn't have any offers. It had some nuances about the property that might have made it less appealing to a lot of people. So, and but before we put in this offer, I pulled comps up for it, right? And I think it was 4 solds in the neighborhood that were relatively similar. And I said, hey guys, 2 of these sold right away. 2 of them sat on the market for 8 or 9 days. They did a price reduction, and then they both sold right after that price reduction for more than the reduced price, but not quite as much as the original list price. So both of those had that delayed auction. The house we're trying to offer on was on the market, dropped the price. It's been on the market 17 days. Just wanted to let you know this could happen. So sure enough, we put in an offer with a 24-hour deadline. The house had been on the market 17 days, didn't have any offers when we put it in, and they got 2 more before the end of the deadline, by the end of the day. So, it happens, and it's weird, but I think I just wanted to explain that this happens all the time this time of year, or anytime there's any major seasonal adjustment or shift or something like that, where the buyers now, they have been screwed for so long and had so little control or leverage in the process, and now they feel like they get an ounce of control, and they feel like, okay, you have an inch, now I want to take a mile. I want to feel like I'm winning. But you are not the only person that feels that way, and I know it's frustrating. Just don't screw yourself again because you want to win. Remember, winning is getting you to your goal, which a lot of times is buying the house. It is not saving $2,000 or $3,000 because you don't want to have to pay over list price. You want to be able to brag and say, oh, I got my house for less than list price. If you don't get the house, you don't get to brag. So putting that out there for everybody, just kind of explaining the delayed auction a little bit, and keep that in mind when you're working with your agents. I'm sure that happens in other markets as well. I always speak to Denver because that is where I work, that is where I play, that is where I'm licensed. So that is my market. That happens here all the time, every year, anytime we have those shifts. And I have to tell every single one of my buyers that and in this time frame, and just let them know and set the expectation that, hey guys, this is possible. Let's plan for that. Just like my people that put in the offer on Wednesday, we put it in before the next weekend came around, right? Because I very likely know that more people are going to go look at it on Friday and Saturday. And if we put an offer on Saturday, it might have 2 or 3 offers. But if we snag it on Wednesday before everybody thinks they can go get a deal the next weekend, we can get a leg up and not try to win by offering less than the list price. Not bidding against 20 people could potentially be the win, and it gets the house you want. And for these people, that was great, and they understood, and I'm excited for them. So anyway, throwing that out there, if you're looking to buy or sell here in Denver, you want an agent that understands these nuances, can set those expectations for you, and can explain why these weird things happen that a lot of people don't understand, please reach out to me. This is what I do. I love my job. I love helping people through these and using this information to their advantage and their strategic advantage to help them accomplish their goal, right? So my contact information is on my website. Link for that is down below. If this was helpful for you, where you're like, holy crap, I never thought of that. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Or man, I totally went through that. I understand. Hit the like button, please. That helps other people find it that are going through potentially the same situation and can benefit them as well. So anyway, thanks so much for the time and have a great day.